All right. Let's get started. Hello, hello. Awesome, awesome. I am really excited to get started, but we're gonna just wait for some folks to come on in. So, if you're here, grab a cup of coffee or a drink, and we're gonna get started shortly. The webinar will start shortly. You can't be serious. I am serious, and don't call me. No, surely you can't be serious. I am serious, and don't call me Shirley. Yeah, remember that? That was from the movie Airplane. All right, we're going to get started in a minute. Let's wait for some folks to join here. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, 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 mm. Hello, welcome. We're going to get started in just a minute, waiting for some folks to join. Hello, Manuel. Welcome, welcome. Great to see you. Get yourself a drink, and we're going to get started in just a couple minutes. If um, if you can hear me and see me, type hello in the chat. Hello, welcome, Scott. Welcome, Emmanuel. If you can hear me and see me in the chat up there, type give me a hello. Let me know where you're coming in from, and we're going to get started in just a couple minutes. Waiting for some folks to join, and as you're coming in here, why don't you type in the chat where you're coming in from? So, can you hear me and see me? Give me a hello in the chat if you can hear me and see me, just so I know that you guys are here. Um, and yeah, let us know in the chat where you're coming in from. You should be able to click on that chat and let us know. Thumbs up. Are you here? Can you hear me? I don't know. I certainly want to have a master class where there are class folks in session, uh, as opposed to just a recording, which I could do anytime. This is our time. All right. I think that's a thumbs up. Thanks, Scott. Awesome. So we're going to start in just a minute. It is a small group today. I guess it's the first day of the month. That is why it is such a small class. Hello, Reza. Welcome. In the chat, type in where you're coming in from and what business you're in. Emmanuel, Reza. So just so you know, this is a small masterclass today. For whatever reason, that's good news for you. But for me, I need your participation, or else I am not. I'll be very depressed. I'll be a depressed speaker, which I'm sure you don't want to see. You want to see a happy, excited speaker. So to do that, I need you to, in the chat, interact with me. This is not a spectator sport. I need you to type in the chat, what business are you in and where are you coming in from? That is what I need in order to actually conduct this masterclass. That's what I need. I think we all need to say to our customers, our people, our wives, our husbands, and our children what it is that we need. And I'm telling you what I need so I can give you what I think you need. So type in the chat, what business are you in and where are you from? Scott, Software as a Service, Oregon. Thank you. Welcome, Scott. Emmanuel, ML Infra Tools, Infrastructure Tools, California. Welcome. All right, great. So I've got a lot of ground to cover. Jeff at Galliot. I don't know where Galliot is. Reza, San Francisco. Awesome. So we're going to be talking about going from boring to brilliant, from invisible to unstoppable. Really, 5 shifts that CEOs make to lead their category and boost sales without hiring an expensive chief marketing officer who you will end up firing anyway in 14 months because of non-performance. And I say that because that's just an industry statistic. It's just a fact. So the ground rules here, if you're joining, you're here, is this is not for spectators. I need you to participate in order for you to get out of this masterclass actionable things that are going to help you attract your ideal customers, grow your sales in a massive way. Success loves speed and action, and so this requires your action. Welcome, William. Type in the chat where you're coming in from, what business you're in. I have the privilege of working with awesome unicorn CEOs. These don't look like unicorns to you, but I guarantee you they are. They have made these 5 shifts that we're going to be talking about today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. William, Reza, Scott, Emmanuel. This book is coming out July 2023. You're going to hear about it, how to grow sales and lead your category in a market flooded with solutions. This is magnetic messaging. And you're going to get today some of the contents of this book, but you're going to be able to interact with me, not an AI, but an expert in this space on positioning. And that's a great opportunity for you and for me to spend this time together. So why is this so hard? And it's hard because, you know, the marketers you hire aren't really paid to take an opposing view. And a lot of solution leaders, if you're here selling a solution, you forget, it's easy to forget that why alternatives to your solution are actually the ruling thing. So we're going to be talking about this today. So give me a number in the chat. A 1, if you have a chief marketing officer in your corner. 2, you hire marketers. Or 3, you go it alone. Let's just see where you guys are coming in from. And remember, this is a William, Reza, Scott, Emmanuel, a conversation here. So we have 3s and we have 2s. Awesome, awesome. Okay, that you're in the right place because the stakes are high. You know, I take you and I take your business really seriously. Your time is also just as valuable as mine. So let's make this really count, this time we have together. Market shifting, as you know, marketing is a money pit if you're doing marketing wrong. Perfect deals are being lost to indecision. VC funding is harder to get from what I'm hearing, and businesses are failing. And if you're just rebranding your website, you'll probably see that if it's not done right, you're not using the right frameworks for positioning, it's going to do nothing for your sales. And that is the facts. So your marketing person's not going to save you for a lot of reasons. Your best salesperson is not going to save you because they may be very unsuccessful and may quit if this is not locked down. And ChatGPT may help you, but it won't save you unless you're training ChatGPT on things that it wasn't trained on in the last 10 years, which is a lot of solution marketing that doesn't work. So who am I? I am Greg Rosner, the CEO of Pitch Kitchen, and I help CEOs and their leadership team align around a core message that grows sales, leads categories, amplifies marketing. I'm going to read this: attracts capital, believe it or not, by fixing the website and sales conversations. And I say conversations because that is your presentation in about 3 months without hiring an expensive CMO. So that's who I am. Um, and I come from a background of doing a lot of this stuff, selling multi-million dollar deals to companies like Apple and even IBM. And I sold those with not the help of marketing, sadly. Marketing threw over the fence sales decks that did nothing for me and my team. So I started a side hustle designing sales conversations that work so much better, built up Pitch Kitchen as a company, and really delighted to be successful today. So, who is your ideal customer? Type in the chat here, who is your ideal customer? We've got Emmanuel, Scott, and William. Again, this is a participatory masterclass here. How well you understand your customer is really your biggest competitive advantage. So type in the chat, who is your ideal customer? Let's put your virtual arm around your virtual customer here as we're talking today. This is so important. So you're not sure yet. Okay, that's scary. But okay, who is this for? Emmanuel, robotics, autonomous driving companies, fantastic. So this is for CEOs who are bringing an innovation to the market. So if that's you, Scott, you're in the right place. CEOs who committed to their vision. If that's you, Emmanuel, you're in the right place. CEOs of early stage or growth stage companies stuck at a revenue stage or maybe even pre-revenue. CEOs whose success depends on getting prospects to change what they're doing. And CEOs are able to invest the time and money in the business. So if you're not one of these, then it's okay if you want to bow out of this conversation. Because my promise to you in the next 45 minutes is really how to nail your sales message, your core message, even if your solution is sophisticated and complicated and based on some fancy AI stuff, how to turn your sales presentations into buying conversations, why it's really game over for traditional marketing strategies. And this is why ChatGPT is going to fail you if you're not training up ChatGPT in the right way for copy, how to close more deals, even in a recession or cash-strapped market, and how to attract and close ideal customers without adding more headcount. So if you're down for this, give me a 1 in the chat. Hello, Adita. Welcome, welcome. Type in the chat where you're coming in from. We're going to be handing this out. This is a free PDF of Magnetic Messaging Framework that's going to be in the book in July. You're going to get it. Only the live people here that are here today are going to get this as a PDF download. We're going to be talking about the components of magnetic messaging that you could use today right out of the gate. So we've got Adita, William, Scott, Emmanuel. If you are here, give me a 1 in the chat if you are psyched to proceed. This is not a spectator sport. I need your participation here. Unlike other masterclasses or webinars you've been in, what I need, not what they need, what I need is your participation. Okay, great. Scott got a 1. Emmanuel got a 1 if you're psyched to proceed. So we're going to get into this, the 5 shifts CEOs make to lead their category and boost sales without hiring an expensive CMO. But first, is this you? You've got an amazing solution, but prospects don't understand it. Prospects are comparing your solution to solutions that are nothing like it. You and your sales reps are working really hard explaining what your product is and why anyone should care. Your homepage perhaps is not doing the heavy lifting that it should be. Thinking that your website should be a no-brainer. When I say your innovation should be a no-brainer, if they only knew what it does, but they don't know. If you have a marketer spending a lot of marketing, but it's not converting into sales, you see a lot of demos not converting to sales even 6 months later. You've read all these books, from Seth Godin to Donald Miller, but yet you know the formula, but you haven't really applied the formula to your sales messaging that shows up on your homepage, your presentation, your proposals. Then this is what we're going to be talking about. If your sales reps are singing from different hymn sheets, um, or you're afraid to invest because you don't really know who your ideal customer is and what your core message needs to be, that's important. We're going to cover this today. If you're spending money on these people, PPC or social people, but you're missing a single compelling core message that is rising above the din of the market, we're going to be talking about this. So if you're sending out presentations like this with white backgrounds and page numbers, God help you if you are. You're not hearing anything back, I'm sure. If you're using language on your homepage like this, that means nothing to nobody. Software, blah, 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 blah. Optimize the utilization and margin of, oh my God, nothing, nothing. Creating innovative workflow technologies that, yes, there's putting brains to sleep. If you're using language like this, especially for bringing AI into the mix, AI powered, AI driven, give me a 3 in the chat if you agree that anything AI powered, people are like, huh, what? And then their brains go to sleep. It doesn't really cut through the noise. If you're using language like this, you are struggling, I'm sure, because it doesn't mean anything, especially if you say it's innovative. So, Manuel, Scott, William, Adita, are you selling an innovation? Give me a 1 in the chat if you're selling an innovation. Yeah, Emmanuel, Scott, 1. Yeah, give me a 1 in the chat. Who else we got here? Adita, yeah. So I guess I got one question for you. Says who? Do you really get to say that? I mean, really? From your perspective, it may be, but your customers are the ones that get to determine that. You can't really tell people that. We're going to be talking about this today. If you hear people saying like, I love what you're saying about this, but I didn't get that at all from your homepage. Yeah, that is a problem. My sales deck, my sales presentation is really a Franken deck, totally ineffective in engaging our customers. I hear that. Our website, while it looks nice, isn't working to attract our ideal customers, prospects. They aren't getting it. We're wasted a ton of money on fancy marketing and has done nothing for sales. Oh my gosh. Everyone on the sales team is telling a different story. Our website hasn't been updated in a couple of years. We're always having to make excuses for it. I hear that all the time. Shoving more data at them isn't converting like you're shoving ROI calculators and full feature demos and how it works videos, but that's not working. Listen, how could your messaging being simple? I want to cut to the chase here, that I've got good news for you. If you're having any of those problems, give me a 3 in the chat. Give me a 3 in the chat if you're having any of those challenges. Emmanuel, Scott, Adita, Keith, if you are having any of those challenges, give me a 3 in the chat. Keith, we agreed here earlier that this is a masterclass that requires participation. I hope you can. William, thank you. Give me a 3 in the chat if you related to any of those challenges before I get to the good news. All right. Good news, William, Adita, Scott, Emmanuel. Good news, Keith. Those, if you have those, are symptoms. But once you make these shifts, the real problem is you haven't made these 5 shifts yet. We're going to be talking about these 5 shifts. You need to make them in order to fix all of those problems. Once you do, you're going to have complete confidence in the money you're spending on marketing. Lead your category, step out among the noise. Your leadership team will be fully aligned. Presentations will be unforgettable, and prospects showing up predisposed to buy. So these are shifts that affect everything in the business. I'm excited to share them with you, and I hope you are too. So if you are, give me a 9 in the chat. Give me a 9 in the chat if you are ready to jump into these 5 shifts. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. Scott, I'm going to dish it out. This is not going to have a replay. I appreciate your time. This is for you. This is time we're spending together to dive into these shifts that you need to make to lead your category and boost sales. Awesome. William Scott, William Emmanuel. Let's jump into it. Number 1, the first shift, lead an uprising, lead a rebellion. Oh my gosh, so powerful. So y'all said you're selling an innovation before by giving me a 1 in the chat, except for you, Keith. I hope you are selling an innovation. I believe that you are. I believe you, but customers don't, by the way. What does your innovation challenge? What change? Well, what is your innovation challenge? Type in the chat specifically. What does the challenge? Let's see what you have here. What does your innovation challenge? Come on, guys, let us dive in. This is a masterclass. We're supposed to be digging in here. What does your innovation, if that's what you're selling, it must challenge an old way. What is that old way that you're challenging? All right. The status quo. But what for you, Scott, is the status quo? What is that? Because you are the enemy of that status quo. But describe what that status quo is. You're going to be, and if your pitch is you're selling an innovation, that's making a claim, isn't it? That perhaps the old way, yeah, we're selling an innovation. That is awesome. Believe me, I'm an arrogant expert making claims, saying we're the best, and here's why it's an innovation. But that way doesn't work. You need to make a shift where your voice in every bit of your marketing, from your proposal to your homepage to your sales presentation, the shift is you are a rebel leader, encouraging change. Where the old way is dead and winners are taking this new approach, the game, it's over for the rest. This is a fundamental shift. So type in the chat, what are you rebelling against specifically in your industry? Every great CEO has a contrarian ideology. What's your contrarian ideology? What change does your innovation require? You got to know this. And if you don't know it, this is a shift that you need to make. Emmanuel, Scott, William, Adita, and Keith, type in the chat here. What are you rebelling against? What are you saying to stop doing? Stop doing this thing. What are you saying? Start doing this thing. Stop betting, start investing. That's a masterclass, by the way. So what are you saying to stop? What are you saying to start? That, in this example, stop checklists, start using smart forms. Doctors and nurses and hospitals, please stop using checklists. Taking time away from patients, start using smart forms and spend more time with patients. So what is the thing? What is the uprising that you are leading against the status quo? If you want to be the market leader, you need to do this. So type in the chat here if you know William Scott, Emmanuel, and Adita and Keith. What are you rebelling against? Come on, guys, I need to hear from you, or else I will slinker off into the corner and be depressed. I know you want to see me do that, but this is a class where we need your participation. What do all of these hashtags have in common? Type in the chat, what do these hashtags have in common? You've seen them before. Wall Street Journal, trust your source. Hit your number, Zoom, info. Own your tomorrow, Charles Schwab. Find your beach, Corona beer. Just do it, Nike. Sounds like Austin Powers here for a minute. What do all these have in common? Keith, these aren't general statements. These are all action-oriented stories of the place that people want to get to, place that people need to get to. Yeah. They all paint a positive picture in their tribe's mind. They're all excellent. And so I would ask you, if you know what your battle cry is, your rebellion, your uprising against the status quo, then what is it? Give me 3 words in the chat if you know it. If you don't, this is the shift you got to work on. Zoom Infos is hit your number. It's not buy our software, buy our leads. It's hit your number. Big difference. It's not we're the best, we're number one. It is be successful, hit your number. By the way, our data can help you do that. That's what they're saying. So we're going to go into this curve for a minute. But first, bad news is like some of you aren't going to make it. I hope you all do. But positioning equals your strategy. And if you don't dial in your positioning, your what feels like a sales problem, what feels like a marketing problem is it's not a sales and marketing problem. It's a positioning and story problem. So Jeff Arrington, the CEO, real quick, of EquipX, before he made this shift, along with the others, confusing marketing content, pipeline was thin, letting key partners down, losing decisions, deals to no decision. This is their website before, pretty but totally ineffective. After made the shifts, tripled the revenue, 6x pipeline in just 4 months. Amazing, absolutely amazing, and so grateful the business vision is materializing. This is a screenshot of the after, and you can see turn your underutilized equipment, that's the problem, into an optimized health system, which is the goal. And how? By reducing fleet costs. It's really, really good. So does this make sense that what the first of the 5 shifts you need to make is the uprising, getting clear on what you need to lead that rebellion against? Give me a make sense in the chat if this makes sense. And that will unlock number 2 in the 5 shifts. Give me a make sense. Keith, makes sense. I got Adita, William, Scott, Emmanuel. Does it make sense? Got a thumbs up. Makes sense. And if you know what your uprising is, I need to see your 3 words or your 5 words and a hashtag. Let's just check to see if you've done this work already, if you made the shift. If not, that's fine. You need to do it, or not. But this your business depends on it. So success loves speed and action, and as the leader, you really need to make these shifts because it's not going to happen by itself. Promise you that. Number 2, and I want to hear from. We've got Scott, Emmanuel, William, Adita, and Keith. Number 2, start with the problem. All right, so here's the thing. Why not start with your solution? Why not start with your innovation? This is why not. And so what do you see here? Why not start with your solution? Give me an answer in the chat here. What do you see here? And why can't you start with your solution? This is just a random screenshot of all the marketing tech in April of 2019. But this is a metaphor here of why starting with solution doesn't work anymore. Too much noise. Absolutely. Thank you, Keith. Noise. It's all it is. Starting with your solution. So starting with your solution doesn't answer these 3 questions. Why should I change as a prospect? Why should I change right now? And why should I change with your innovation? So you'll know The Chasm by Jeffrey Moore, breakthrough idea. Let's take this to the next level and flip it on its end, where the chasm that needs to be crossed is not the company, but the chasm is where your customers are at, where the risk of changing on the left side is greater than the risk of doing nothing on the right. So there are people who are in 2 different camps, where the people on the right side, risk of doing nothing is like too great for them and they need to do something. So your job in your messaging is to ignore some of those people, educate some of those people, influence some of those people, encourage some of those people to make the change. So starting with the problem is the second shift you need to do. So if you know what the number 1 problem that your prospective customers have, type it in the chat now. Let's hear it. Type in the chat now the number 1 problem your prospective customers have. Now, this is a trick question because a lot of people get this wrong, but let's see if you can do it. It's a challenge. Emmanuel, Scott, William, Adita, Keith, what's the number 1 problem your prospective customers have? Let's see what you got. Come on, you can do it. You started this business, this innovation you've built to solve a problem because you understand that problem. Type it in the chat. Let's see. Come on, guys. You can do it. Again, I need your participation. Emmanuel, slow and complicated manual processes. Yes. Thank you, Emmanuel. That is a problem. Going a little deeper, why is that a problem? Why is slow and complicated manual process a problem? What's the impact of that? Keith, 46% failure rate within 0 to 18 months of new hires. That is a problem. William, current solution is time consuming. It takes too long. Again, going a little deeper, why is that a problem? Getting to clarity on what the problem is going to help you right there on your homepage and in your proposals, in your presentations, talking about that problem. Because just giving people's facts, like 46% failure rate in 0 to 18 months of new hires, that's a fact, probably. Does that change people's minds? Survey says, I don't know if you remember that show. No, it doesn't change people's minds. There are people who believe that the world is flat. So people don't believe facts anyway. Um, so, your website needs to be clear about this, about the problem. And problems, people relate to it. So when you're starting with a solution, what happens is, you'll write some text and have it on your homepage, and people won't understand it. And if they don't understand it, their mind is confused, and a confused mind just says no. Nobody cares about your why. Nobody cares about you or your solution or your product. Oh my gosh, what do people really care about? Type it in the chat. William, current solution is time consuming. Yeah. What do people really care about? What do your customers care about? Themselves. Yes, it's so easy to forget, but we need to focus on the problem in our messaging. It needs to appear really close to the top. So demoing solution doesn't convince anyone. If anyone, if you don't believe me, look at the Gartner studies or Gong.io labs. People believe in the things that they themselves decide about their problem, not what you tell them. So if you say people 46% failure rate and 0 to 18-month new hires, people may not believe that unless they experience it. But if you can describe their problem better than they can, they'll automatically believe you have the best solution. Give me a 1 in the chat if you believe that this is true. Give me a 1 in the chat if you believe that this is true. Yes. Yes. So starting with the problem is really effective, more effective than making claims. So we're going to be talking about this game over narrative. So the world has changed, and that's one of the aspects of talking about the problem, that if the folks that are on the left side, you're encouraging them to make the change, the risk of not changing is greater than the risks of staying the same. This is a great Be Definitive. What a great rebellion comment that is. It's for a company that sells decision-making software. So good, so good. Patience before paper. Turn your paper checklist into smart forms. So good, so good. These are a couple good examples. So if starting with the problem in your messaging makes sense, give me a 1 in the chat. Do it, do it, do it. Makes sense. Or just type in makes sense. Adita, Keith, Scott, William, give me a 1 in the chat. All right, let us get to number 3. Make your customer the hero. All right, now y'all think, y'all, I'm not even from the South, I'm from New York, but y'all think that you're doing this already. But if you really look at your homepage, what is your homepage obsessed with? Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all? So it's so easy to miss this. This is a shift where you're not making your customer the hero. You're making your solution, your innovation, the hero of the story, and it doesn't work. This is a bad example, I mean, an example that's bad. Bringing clarity to risk, acuity, we're the Superman of the story. Without the problem, the solution doesn't even make sense. So the problem here, a lot of CEOs are like, yeah, let's make our customer the heroes. The customer's the hero. Marketers always say, yeah, I can do that. I'll do that for you. Reality is nobody has any idea how to do it. So if you go to your homepage right now, who's the hero there? If you're using words like this, we're the future of, we're disrupting, the unique value we offer that is making your solution, your quote, innovation, the hero. And when your innovation is the hero, this is what you look like. You look like the dude on the, not you look like me, but you look like Gollum. You don't look like the AI generated person on the right, where you're obsessed with your customers' goals and problems. So if this makes sense, give me a one in the chat, or just actually type in "makes sense" if this makes sense. That you need to make your customer the hero, and it really comes through the voice of everything in your messaging. So give doctors superpowers. That's actually a great site. This is what it was before, by the way. AI, human interaction, creating a better world for tomorrow. Like, oh my God, like, slit my wrists. Like, oh, I'm not going to say something horrible like that, but this is terrible. It doesn't do anything. And businesses that advertise and market themselves like this are going to fail. Same company, great transformation where they made their customer the hero. Give doctors superpowers. Bring emotional artificial intelligence to patient encounters. Oh my gosh, how cool is that? I understand it. Did you get it from this? No. Did you get it from this? Yes. All right. Another example of something that's really bad: Health Med, transforming mental health care delivery. Like, what are they selling? Oh my gosh, who are they selling it to? Another headshot there with like brain waves and oh my God, and computer chip things. Anyway, old way saying we're the best doesn't work anymore. Your voice needs to say how we make you better. That is a telltale sign of you positioning yourself as the trusted guide in the story, and they are the hero. So, what are you really selling? You're not selling just your solution along the continuum of where your customers are today versus where they want to go. You are selling the change of that transformation. So let's look at this chart again. So on the left side, there are folks who feel that the risk of changing is too great. And on the right side, there are folks who feel like the risk of doing nothing is too great. You need to identify where these people are, ignore some of those folks, educate, influence, and sell like crazy the folks who are risk of doing nothing. And if your messaging and positioning is done right, you're going to do that in one fell swoop with one core story. So you need to involve yourself in your customer story of change, because that is really what you do in selling. So by the way, I'm offering to you guys here an opportunity to meet with me. This is not for everyone. Keith, Adita, William, Scott, Emmanuel. I'm going to put that here on the screen. Share offer. So just so you know, that's available as one of the two things I'm offering. I'm also going to offer the magnetic messaging framework free as a PDF download in this webinar. But you should see that in the upper right hand corner. All right. So Trisha, just real quick story: CEO selling a really sophisticated behavior science technology product, but the market was really noisy and could not differentiate, failing to book new conversations, missing sales target, frustrated with performance. After, oh my gosh, big difference, winning much bigger deals faster. I think the number is 2 to 3 times bigger deals and faster. Recruiting salespeople with purpose and easier, because salespeople want to work for companies where it's easier to sell, where you're not having to do all the heavy lifting in marketing that marketing is not doing. So here's an email I got from Trisha saying that, once a single post on LinkedIn with the new messaging within minutes was booked by a COO, which is just awesome. So if this makes sense to make your customer the hero, type in the chat, makes sense. And so what that means is make yourself the trusted guide in the messaging on your voice that you're using in your messaging. Yep, Adita, Keith, it does. All right, number 4, use the secret weapon. Secret weapon here that all the CEOs I showed earlier that are bringing innovations to the market, they're using this magnetic messaging framework. Now, the elements of this you may recognize, but this is really putting it in a simple format. The 3 parts is it's a game over positioning, absolutely world change, game over positioning, where you've got that revolution hashtag, a 7-page heroic messaging for your customer, and it's the North Star for your business. 2, Heroic homepage revamp. So your homepage is a home run for your customer to get from where they are today to where they want to go. And the third part is a presentation. Yes, slides, but it's only a few slides that allows you to have the right conversations, a guided discovery that isn't what is on your homepage. So many sales decks are shitty because what's on their sales deck is a regurgitation of what's on the website, on the homepage, and you don't need that. You need a conversation guide. So you want to turn your homepage into a conversion site. When I say homepage, less pages the better. It used to be in the 2010s, more pages the better. Today it's less, 3 to 5 pages max, with long scrollable pages. You don't believe me? How many hours do people spend on TikTok scrolling? The scrolling website is the new thing. So these are a couple examples of really good websites, and they are clear using the magnetic messaging framework, talking about how the world has changed. There's a new way, and encouraging their customers, their prospects to make the change. Goodbye spreadsheets. Hello connected information. So good, so good. And the purpose of this above the full text is to get people to be curious and to scroll down. So this is the magnetic messaging framework. I'm going to put it on the screen so you can download it at the end. But essentially, you have words at the top that is calling people to the outcome they want, and a call to value. I like to call that, instead of a call to action, a call to value. Who is this for? Is it for people like me? Do you understand my problem? What is that call to action? Is it passive or is it focused? Is it valuable for me? What are the features and benefits of the solution? Of course, like that's the obvious part. Social proof. What is the plan? How do I get there? Is there what's the contrast between my current state and the future state? And showing me that before and after is so powerful. Instead of a booking form, actually get people to click a time instead of having them getting lost in email. It's a much better way. This is a great example for HOA Works. Make your HOA smarter. It's that call to that inspired uprising rebellion. Make cybersecurity simple. You see, there's the pattern there. So if you don't have your homepage doing the heavy lifting of your core message, your sales conversations will suffer. You will lose deals. Your prospects showing up predisposed to buy is really what you want. All right. So you want to turn your presentation, this is that third part, into a set of conversations. So you need to decide what conversations you actually need. You don't need to repeat what's on the website. So I'm just curious, how many slides do you think you need? Just type in the chat. How many slides you think you need? Most slides undermine sales because they're poorly done. They don't really help drive the right conversations. So how many slides do you really need? 3, 5, 6? Yes, yes, in that range, absolutely. Because you want to stop telling and you want to start asking in that opportunity as a precursor to any kind of demo. How many topic conversations you need to close a deal? So I like to say design conversations, not slides. So most conversations can be fit in 3 buckets that you think of. Any conversation you have with a customer, typically it's around the problems and the goals and what they want to achieve. And then you talk about your solution at some point in the middle. And then you get to the third part, which is like how we're going to get there. And that's a very natural structure for a really effective meeting. But if you dive into those, these are the 12 conversations that you may want to choose from as battle cards. And I know these 12 because from doing 3,000 sales presentations, I have found there's a pattern, 3,000 that we've developed for our clients. There's a pattern of what conversations need to happen to move deals forward. The beauty of the 3-part structure is that you can really guide the discussion based on the conversations you need to have with that individual or that group at any point in time. This is a great example of a slide that focuses on the problem. This is a problem conversation. So it's almost like a guessing game. People shouldn't read a slide and know what to do. It's a guided discovery. Here's another example of a really good slide where you are talking about what outcomes would make the biggest difference for your organization. and you don't know yet. You got to find out what outcomes would make the biggest difference, and then you go from there. You don't have to be stuck on slides. It's got to be a two-way conversation. So this is the secret formula, which a secret recipe, pun intended. Pitch Kitchen magnetic messaging framework. Give that game over positioning, heroic homepage revamp, and choose your own adventure sales presentation. All right. So if that makes sense, give me a makes sense in the chat and we will dial it in with the last of the five. Give me a makes sense if you're still here. Keith, Adita, William, Scott, Emmanuel. Give me a makes sense. MS. Love that. MS. Okay. Does that make sense? All right, William. Awesome. Awesome. All right, so last of the five shifts, invest in expert help. So, remember Buzz Lightyear, said something like, if you're selling an innovation, my company provides a unique, complex solution leveraging revolutionary technology. And then that moment, Buzz realizes he's one of a gazillion. So when you're inside the box of your innovation, it's really hard to see how customers see you. Real quick story, Masood, uh, with his company, was frustrated sales were declining, 30 demos to one sale. Oh my gosh, 30 demos to one sale. Large sales team turnover, and I would leave that company selling if customers aren't qualified. Anxious about limited financial runway. This was the before website. And just looking at this, it's like even hard to tell, like, what are they selling here? How is this going to help me? And who are they? Is this for me? This is the after. Get intelligent recovery. So, backup and recovery is the world that they're selling in, but it's the intelligent recovery that is the uprising. That's the area, that the new category that they're leading in. So good. And look at the call to action. It's talk to a recovery expert. That is a value, a call to value. Really, really good. So after tripled at bats, doubled their win rate in 2 months, new salespeople are closing deals. And I'm grateful for those guys as well. So if you don't hire an outside expert, you're going to struggle to do this alone. Marketers you hire aren't paid to take an opposing view. They're not going to challenge you. You're going to go back and forth between good opinions, stuck in a solution idea pool, continue to waste money on marketing that's not working for sales, and waste time and people on demos that aren't going to close. So all these unicorn CEOs have taken this shift and hired an outside expert that helped. And I'd like to say, don't hire a marketer, hire a sales enabler, because a lot of marketers do not know how to do this. That QR code is to book a session with me, which is free for you guys if you guys qualify. So just to recap, what you need to win is lead an uprising. Start with the problem, not your solution. Make your customer the hero that's making you the guide. Use the secret weapon, the magnetic messaging framework. And 5, invest in expert help. So there you have it. That is really what you need. Now you have a choice. You can go it alone. And certainly you'll get today the magnetic messaging framework, and good luck with that. Or you can get some help. And this is what I have for you. If you want some help, scan that QR code and it should be up there. If you click to offer, the offer area, to get the link. So I've set aside some 45-minute Zoom calls and where you could get clear on the gap between where you are today and where you need to go. Apply the formula that you probably already know, but in your head, but really haven't materialized in your business. Decide what to do about it and get a game plan to getting it done. That is the call. So this is absolutely free if you qualify. And the qualification is, let me just do this handout now so you got it. Share handout. It should show up there as a handout on the screen in the upper right. So qualifications: do not book a call if you don't have a viable product to sell, because that's just tough. I'm sorry if you aren't committed to your vision. I don't really want to talk right now because I have limited time. If you are okay with where you are, you don't need to book. If you aren't challenging the status quo in your industry, that's an important factor, because I like to work with folks that are acknowledging the change that they're making in their industry and their innovation. If you can't or won't invest time and money in your business, it's not good because this will take time and money. So, reality, if you choose not to act and don't act on these things, it's just not good. At the bottom, you may not make it. And there are businesses that I know and love that haven't made it in the last couple of years. And that's just a harsh reality. Some of these things, you may not be using proven positioning frameworks. There may be blind spots you actually don't even see anymore because you're looking at it so long, you're looking at your homepage so long, you just don't even see it anymore. That is a reality. So I hope that you guys take this advantage of this time to talk with me. I'd be delighted to if that's you. Let's go over to the chat. And if you guys have any questions, William, Scott, Adita, any comments or questions here about this? You're welcome, William. Yes, free if you qualify, Adita. Absolutely. Yep. If you qualify. Yeah. So, I mean, don't you have to qualify and disqualify your prospects as well? You don't have unlimited time, I'm sure. That's just a reality for business. I'm running a business and I have three and a half children. Yes, one on the way. Really exciting times. So I don't have unlimited time. I really wish I did, as you do. So I hope, which of the 5 things you see companies struggling with the most? Okay, Adita, great question. I see, let's go back to that. I see, yeah, starting with the solution is what companies struggle with the most. People, CEOs especially, get so excited about their solution. That's what they lead with. And it's just noise. It doesn't work. That's what they struggle with the most. They're like, oh, it should be a no-brainer. Look at this amazing thing. Oh my gosh, it's the best. Just you have to see it. Let me just show it to you. Let me just show it. But no, people don't want to see it because you haven't demonstrated you understand their problem. Does that make sense, Adita? Keith, what about the issue of filling the top of the funnel? What you're talking about is great, but we're struggling with at-bats. Yes, great question, Keith. So once you nail your positioning, then you can spend a little bit of money setting up a system to do outbound emailing. That still works, by the way. Targeted customers, maybe even using a generative AI to help with customization at scale. And yes, you will get your at bats because you're using the right messaging. But if you do all that generative AI stuff, but your offer isn't really resonating because it's not anchored in these 5 shifts, you're going to spend a lot more money on marketing. Yeah, sure, you can throw a ton of cash at generating meetings, but it's not going to convert like you'd hoped if you don't dial in your core messaging strategy. Does that make sense, Keith? Adita, MS makes sense. I'm really bad at acronyms, so I think MS makes sense, not multiple sclerosis or mass suicides or many scenarios. I'm really bad at acronyms. I don't like acronyms. Uh, I've learned in marketing, acronyms are terrible things. But anyway, Adita, Keith, Scott, William, Emmanuel, I want to thank you for being here in this webinar. I hope you got some value from it, and we will catch you on the rebound. Oh, and the book is coming out in July. Take care.